Hi, my name's Phil and I'm bringing this old canoe stern motorboat back to life. She's 32 foot long, her name is Jabiru and she's 90 years old, I think. This episode, number 43, will deal with fitting an engine box and a box around the fuel tank and water tank, as well as the enclosing the batteries at the same time. So hope you enjoy it. Well, I screwed the rest of this floor in yesterday. This is a hatch, and down there will be probably about there will be a through-hole fitting with a valve to supply water to the kitchen, the galley. So with the floor I put down yesterday, I've pushed in lumps of foam and added little bits of gap sealing filler, Selly's Marine Flex, and then I'm going to put a coat of paint on. Now the idea of this is to stop rubbish from falling down underneath the floor. So that should keep the bilge clean. There's another little hatch here which will allow me to get to this valve. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's to empty water out of the diesel. So there's a well there that hangs down below the diesel tank, so that should collect water, and the diesel tank is angled so that it runs forward. So what I'm going to do now is paint these bits. I've already done the floor at the rear end and filled up all these gaps so that junk can't get down to the bottom of the boat. So I don't know if oh no, that feels pretty solid. I'll put some more paint in here to make sure that we don't get dust going down there. So that's all sealed all the way around, and that hole there is for exhaust hose to come up from the engine. So it'll come from the engine there under the floor, and then this muffler will sit under the seat, and then it will go up to the exhaust outlet up the back there. So that's in preparation, not being fitted yet. So there'll be bench seats here in this area, which will double as bunks for when we want to sleep outside in summer. So underneath this little hatch is another through-hole fitting. That's actually the first hole that I've drilled in the boat in anger, so since I've glassed it. So that's the only hole so far. I've got to seal the edges of that with epoxy to make sure that no water can ever get into the timber, and that'll be the access hatch for that. There'll be an engine box that comes down to here all the way. So anyway, I'll get on and do some painting. On the starboard side here, just to our left of that bulkhead and in front of the raised floor, there will be the head. Now just behind it, I'm now starting to set up some blocks to take a piece of flooring that will hold the waste tank for the head. It will be underneath the control panel at the steering position on that side, so it'll all be hidden behind the bulkhead. And so that's what I'm doing now, putting in those blocks to support that bit of floor, and eventually there'll be the waste tank there. Now that all the pieces are fitted, I just have to attach the supporting battens for all the other parts that have got to go with it. So I can now start on the engine box, putting battens on the floor, ready for the plywood walls to be fitted. So all of these 4 joints in the tapered engine box are miters, so they all have to be fitted pretty well. And in the end I made large supporting posts at each of those 4 joins to make it strong enough to be able to move without it falling apart. So it worked out pretty well in the end. I'm happy with it. I fitted that large beam across the top of the engine box at the forward end so that it would make it just a little bit stronger. The idea is that if any time anything needs to be done to the engine, I can just remove the engine box by sliding it towards the rear of the boat, and it will uncover the whole of the engine and give us plenty of access to it. All of these parts now have to be removed so that they can be sealed with epoxy and painted before they're put back in. So that's why they're going out now. Now all the painting's done, they're all going back in, hopefully for the final time. Now, because this engine box is removable, the last thing that we want to have is for it to rattle while we're going along with the engine going. So I've got two threaded bolt inserts which are down near the rear end of the box near the floor, and then two up forward near the floor. So the only thing remaining then is to clamp it in place with those two locking clamps at the top, which I'm now fitting. So that should make it a fairly tight fit, and it shouldn't make any noise while we're underway. All these things are back in the boat now. I've added a couple of things to the system here. I've put a box in the top of this. There will be a lid that will hinge along that side and lift up, so you have access to the water tank and the fuel tank and the batteries. And also I've put a hatch in the back of the engine so that I'll be able to change water pump and water pump impeller and fan belt without taking too much apart. So there'll just be 4 bolts holding a hatch in against there, and that won't be in the way of the batteries either. So, but this will hold junk, tools, whatever you call it. Now in the engine box, it'll have a lid which will just sit down on top of it. And I've also made another box for tools and fittings up the front here, well, sorry, down the back there, above the end of the gearbox. So that'll just be some good storage there. So that plus that one will be really nice to use. So that's all there is for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.